internet. Hi friends and family, I know you're watching this. My name's Natasha. Also, I'm really sorry if you hear noises in the background. There's people mowing right now. There's things going on in the background, so I'm really sorry if that bothers you. So I first want to start, and I just want to say I'm putting a trigger warning for anybody who, you know, topics such as domestic violence, narcissism, physical, emotional, mental abuse, financial abuse, and abuse through social media. If any of those things are really quite triggering for you, I don't want this video to be harmful to you. That is not my intention. I don't want anybody watching this to be harmed by this video. So please do not watch it. And for the people who do want to stay and listen to my story and, you know, be here for the journey, I'm just kind of sitting down speaking to my camera, and I just kind of want to talk about whatever comes from my heart. I also want to say before I start off, sometimes I may laugh, but that's my coping mechanism, and I'm super aware that I do that. It's something that I'm working on. But if I laugh when I'm talking about really harmful or disturbing things that have happened to me, I'm really sorry. That's just what I do, and it's a coping mechanism that I do, and sometimes I'm aware of it and sometimes I kind of forget. But I just want to highlight that too. Before I get started, I'm really new. This is my first video I'm putting online. If my camera's crooked, I'm sorry. I really don't know how this stuff works. I just figured I'd sit down and tell my story. I'm being real vulnerable online, so I'm very nervous. I know it's all gonna be worth it though. I feel in my heart and soul that this is the right time for me to come on here and kind of share my story and share things that I've learned and kind of bring a new perspective about this topic. This is really like the happiest and most full and healthiest I think I've ever felt in my whole life, and so that's why I feel like it's a good time for me to talk about this. And I also want to mention, gosh, see, I'm already starting to laugh and I get all weird. I also want to mention I'm in a safe place, a safe home around amazing people, because I am going to be talking about my experiences. And you know, my experiences were pretty extreme and pretty scary, and I just want to put that out there that I'm fine now, and that's why I feel comfortable talking about this. It's kind of a lot harder than I expected. Okay, I think I just need to start it off, and we're gonna get really vulnerable really quick. So around this time, it's been over a year now since I decided to leave an extremely abusive relationship. Wow, why do I already feel emotional? I told myself I wasn't gonna cry, but it's already making me emotional. My intention for this video is to just bring a new perspective about this topic, because even though I wasn't married to this person, I didn't have children with them, it was still pretty extreme and I felt trapped. And I just kind of want to bring a perspective of a younger person going through this and what that can kind of look like, because I feel like I want to highlight that as well. Like, I know there's several people out there who are younger and who are either in high school or in college or around that age. Even if you didn't go to school and you're around that age, I know that there are many of you out there that this has happened to, and a lot of resources that I've noticed or that I've interacted with, there are great resources out there, but a lot of them focus more on people who are married or who have children or share a home with this person. And so it kind of at times made me feel like an outlier. I don't know, it just felt kind of funny, and so I kind of want to bring that perspective as well, that this can literally happen to anyone, no matter what you identify as, no matter what situation you are in, no matter what your gender may be, no matter where you are. And another reason why I'm making this video is because there are just a lot of harmful information out there, a lot of harmful stereotypes, and a lot of victim blaming. And yeah, it's just really disturbing, really disheartening. I've experienced victim blaming. Victim blaming can be incredibly damaging. You cannot blame a victim for what happened to them. You cannot blame them for being abused. There is absolutely no excuse in this world on why it is okay to physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, through social media, any form of abuse is never okay in any circumstance. And I've experienced people around the abuser and people in my life at the time who came up with reasons and used it as justification on why the person is acting the way that they are acting. Now, you can come up with reasons and try to understand why an abuser may be the way that they are, maybe what led them to these behaviors. However, that is never a reason on why it makes it okay. It's never justification. And I just want to highlight that as well because, you know, for the longest time in this relationship, I'd go along with that too. I'd be like, oh, well, they tell me they have anxiety or OCD, or they get stressed, or they had childhood trauma, or however, if those are reasons, and if your abuser will mention those things to you, like they had childhood trauma, they have anxiety, they have impulse control, they have issues with their anger, that's not a reason to harm you. There is no reason in this world on why it is okay to harm somebody in that way, ever. And I want to highlight that as well because there are enablers in this world, and that is either because they may be afraid, they may be in denial, or them themselves have shown these behaviors, and so when they are defending an abuser, they're just really defending their own behaviors or their own actions inside themselves. And or especially many times when abusers are in abusive families or households, people around them may tend to not take accountability and to make excuses and enable them because they don't want other people knowing that they're in an abusive situation. However, that may be a reason, it's still not okay. So I just want to highlight a couple reasons and situations that may be happening because I know how that feels. I am not a victim. I've been victimized by people in my life. I am a survivor, and I feel like many times people tend to victimize survivors. So I just want to make that clear, that even though, yes, this is a part of my story and this is something that happened to me, it's not everything of who I am, and I just want to shed light. I just want to shed light on those things. I also just, you know, I really want to make this video because if it helps one person out there who's watching this right now, gosh, it makes me want to cry. It genuinely makes me want to cry because I went through so much pain and I didn't think I would even be alive today. So I just know that this was all worth it if I could help even one person out there. If this affects you in any way, for a positive way, of course, and let you know that you're not alone, then that's amazing. That's amazing. And you know, at first I knew I wanted to post about this in some way because I was so tired of feeling like I had to be silenced or I couldn't speak about this. I was so tired of feeling like I didn't have a voice, and I wanted to take that back and take back my power and my strength. And yeah, I just wanted to put it out there in the world. And I want to do it for other survivors out there too, because I know what it feels like to not feel heard, and I know what it feels like to not feel believed, and to feel like your opinion and your experiences are validated. And so I want to do this for you. Gosh, everything in here makes me want to cry already. I just do. Like, I know there are, even in my life, many amazing survivors that I've talked to, and some that I'm going to share in my pictures and my post, and eventually I would love to interview them, to just share their stories as well. But a lot of amazing survivors I talk to, I know that they struggle to tell people and to tell their stories, and you know, there's still some shame around it. And oh my gosh, I just want to share mine, because if you're out there right now and you've survived an abusive relationship, or you're currently in one, wow, I want to let you know that you shouldn't be shameful, and you shouldn't feel embarrassed, because it's not your fault. What happened to you is not your fault, and don't let anybody tell you that. And if they do, please keep pushing. You do, because you matter, and you are a warrior. If nobody has told you that, I want to tell you that. Because trust me, I know the feeling, and I know how much strength and courage it takes to get up every day, even where there are moments where you don't, or you wish you weren't. But I want to let you know that you can do it. I promise you, you can. I promise you. I've been in incredibly dark places, and there are many, many moments throughout my abusive relationship, and even after, where I honestly didn't see the light, and I couldn't look to the future. I couldn't even make it through the day. And I promise you, you can. I promise you, you can. So yeah, I also want to send that message to anybody out there, you know, even if it wasn't an abusive relationship, to anybody out there who's experienced any form of abuse, you know, for any amount of time, for any degree. You are a warrior. You are. And you are incredible. I also want to mention, I'm not going to name or say certain specifics, because some things that have happened to me are extremely disturbing and serious and real, and I'm not ready to share all of that. However, I am going to share certain scenarios I've been in, or certain behaviors or things that I began to notice. So maybe if you're out there and you know you've survived this, or you're in a situation like this, maybe this can help you relate, or help you see certain signs or behaviors, or understand those things. And if you're a person who has just known somebody who's gone through this, or if you're a family member or friend of mine, thanks for being here and supporting me. But maybe this will help you, you know, with a fresh new perspective, and kind of understand the mindsets of a survivor, because I know that can be incredibly difficult, looking on the outside, being a friend or a family member, and you want to help somebody so bad, but you're having a hard time understanding their actions, or you know, why they stay in certain scenarios, or just kind of their mindsets. And so hopefully this helps you understand that a little bit better. So a little bit of background on my story. I was 16 when I'd grown close to this person, and you know, for me, I'd kind of known them and been mutual friends around them, and so I thought I knew who they were. And so it made me more off off the bat. It made me more comfortable around this person. A lot of my friends at the time were friends with this person, so I just figured that I knew them, but that is not the case. I've noticed that many times in many abusive situations where you pick up on things here and there, but it's not this huge blaring red flag, and you many times don't see the full extent until you're already deep in the relationship. You're already in some sort of commitment, whether you're living with them, you're married to them, you're engaged, you're dating, if that makes sense. Like some sort of commitment, you kind of don't, or at least in my case, I didn't fully see everything. I didn't see that full side of them until then, and that made it extremely hard to leave. I had grown close to this person when I was really young. I wasn't planning on getting in any kind of relationships at this point in my life. I'd been looking forward to new steps and to going to college, and so I just kind of was figuring out myself and figuring out my life. And even looking back, like, I had gotten into this relationship, but in the beginning, and many times this happens with abusers, where they can make it seem like they're your soulmate and it's the best thing that's ever happened to you. And they say all the right things, do all the right things, they give you gifts, they do all the right things that they think that you want out of the relationship, or things that you would want. And you know, at the time I was so young, I hadn't had many experiences in relationships. Now I'm gonna kind of mention some things that have happened to me. So after I had kind of, I guess, established a relationship with this person, we had begun to do long distance. And you know, looking back, I see the signs now, but at the time I didn't, because many times they will manipulate you slowly over time. You can pause the video here if you want to look more into it, but I just wanted to add a quick picture of different signs and behaviors that could be happening, so that way if you notice this or you know somebody, I just figured this could be helpful. I've also experienced some of these as well, but I'll get back to the video. So that way, you know, they do all the right things, they say all the right things, and then when they act out on you or they get angry at things or they'll display certain behaviors, for you, you're like, oh, this is out of character for them. Like, they must be having a bad day, they must be stressed. Or you come up with all these things and all these reasons of what it could be. And so there may be periods of time where that may be happening, but especially at the beginning, they don't show you those things until you're really in it, until you've seen the real them, or if it's like over time and then it gets progressively worse. And I feel like in every situation it will get progressively worse, and it always does. It keeps escalating. For me, it started with mental and emotional abuse. And once I had been serious with this person, and after long distance, I had decided to move closer to this person. There had been issues in the relationship, but I figured, oh, it's long distance, or oh, if I'm closer to them, maybe it will be better, we can work things out. And I also want to mention, people have different responses to trauma. I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it's fight, flight, freeze, and there's also a fawn response. And so when you're in trauma and you're being abused, you may react in some of those ways. Mine was the fawn response, and the more that this person abused me, and more that I would buy them things, or the more that I would sacrifice myself for their needs, the more that I would do more things for them, I would just anything. Like, I began to pay for trips, I paid for food, I spent thousands of dollars living where they were, finding apartments where they were, trying to go on trips, because in the messed up situation and mindset that you're in, which I know it may not make sense, but at the time you think, oh, if I do all these things it will get better, they can't hurt me anymore, or if they're not as stressed and we're away at vacation, it's going to be amazing. And it never lasts. And it's just a constant cycle. I just wanted to add another quick picture because this is the cycle of abuse that I was talking about, that I got trapped in, and I just thought it was good representation in a general sense, to get a good picture of it. So I just wanted to add this as well. And so it really impacted me financially. It impacted many things. I spent so much money for this person and for this relationship. That's something that abusers thrive off of. It's quite disturbing. At the time, I didn't want to admit it to myself or realize it, but it is not love. It was never love. They wanted you to love them, but they were never capable of loving you. They wanted you for their own ego, for their own self-validation, for their own self-worth. They use you for that, and it's really dark and it's really scary. And that was the hardest thing to wrap my mind around. In my process, it took me a year to plan to leave. And before then, and in many abusive situations, I tried to leave. I can't even tell you how many times, like countless times I tried to leave. But where my mistake was I didn't tell people I was leaving, or I didn't make a plan, and so I can never follow through with it. And I'll get into the reasons on why with that, and then I'd left all my friends, my family, everything I had known at the time to move closer to this person, because I just, at the time, wanted it to work so bad, which is really hard. It's really hard to understand, but it's not bad all the time. For me, there were spurts of time, and then it just got progressively worse, where it felt almost every single day. And it's really sick and really weird, but I feel like they test you. They like to test if you'll defend them. They like to test if you will stay. They like to do these things to you to see how much you can take as a person and how much you're willing to take to be with them. And it's really gross, but that's like the reality of it. And so when I moved closer to this person, that's when it got extremely bad. And that's where it became really physical. So things that I've experienced, you know, whether they were in a bad mood or it'd be something I would ask about, such as behaviors that they had done, lies that they had said, or just wanting to know the truth of things. Any kind of conversation whatsoever to do with that, this person would explode on me. They would blow up on me. You know, if I did something that they didn't want me to do, or I said something that they didn't want me to say, I would be punished for it. So some of the things that I'm explaining right now are pretty much all of these examples. I've heard these as well too, and these are great examples of what gaslighting can look like, and I just thought it would also be helpful to add to the video. Emotional and mental abuse for me was extremely damaging, to the point where I lost myself. I literally had no self-identity, self-worth. They broke me down so much so that I literally felt like a shell of a human. Like, even during this relationship, and especially after I left, I couldn't even tell you things that I liked. Like, my favorite food. I couldn't tell you things that I enjoyed doing because I lost all of that. I lost all sense of myself. Like, especially after I left, I felt weird when people would ask me about things about me. It's just really weird, like, what happens to you. I'll talk more about that, but sorry, I kind of get all over the place because I'm just trying to figure out what to say and how to explain it. But There were scenarios for me where if I wasn't responding to this person at their appropriate time, or I had said or done something that they didn't like in their book, they would come over to my apartment without my consent, without me saying it was okay. They would wait outside for however long it took. They would wait for somebody to let them in. They would make sure that they got into my apartment, and sometimes I would comply with this because I was afraid of getting evicted, or I was afraid of it affecting my neighbors in any way. And so at certain times I just dealt with it, because this person would pull everyone and everything into situations to try to control me to do what they wanted me to do. And you know, there'd be times where I would sit there and take things, especially emotionally and verbally. I've been called everything that you can think of. This person made me feel worthless. They told me I would be nothing without them. Good luck without me. Just a lot of things that I'm obviously not going to say. They would basically just mock me and my feelings and say that my feelings meant nothing. They never validated my feelings once, ever in the relationship, because theirs was all that mattered. And if emotional and mental, like verbal abuse, would escalate physically. And when you're in situations like that, you kind of either pick, or at least I did, whether I was going to take it for that time or it was going to cost me my life. Whether that's taking it yourself or it escalating to them taking your life. And there'd be situations where I tried to get help. I would randomly text my friends. I think it was a subconscious way of me crying out for help. I tried calling the police and 911 many times, but they would try to break my phone, they would throw my phone, they would take my phone from me. And the times where I could call, I was deathly afraid and scared that they would hear me, that they would find out. So I didn't. And there would be times after abuse where they would take my keys, my wallet, my computer, my phone, and leave for however much time they wanted. And then when they did come back, they wouldn't leave my apartment. So I had to be forced to either sleep there, or there were nights where I tried sleeping in my car because it was the only way that I could literally get away from them. And that's the thing they'd like to do a lot, is they would come over and they wouldn't leave. Like, they would just stay for however much long they wanted to. They would just fall asleep like nothing had even happened, and I'd be crying. I'd be bawling on the bathroom floor, feeling so alone, and they'd be fast asleep in my bed. And I remember this one specific time where it got so bad, and I did think about suicide many times. And there were times where I had out-of-body experiences, and this is called disassociating, and your brain does this to protect you. Because when you're in constant trauma, it's hard to connect and understand that those things are happening to you because you wish they weren't. And you know, this time I was lying on my bathroom floor and I was just asking God to take me away. And I had many moments where I didn't want to live anymore. I just wanted it to end. I wanted it to stop. And I never once got validation from this person ever. And it's something that you'll never get from an abuser, because they're constantly choosing over and over and over again to harm you. They don't have empathy. They can't empathize with you. They only care about themselves, their wants, their needs, and they will use you in any way to get what they want. And the hardest thing for me was admitting it to myself, because admitting it to myself was admitting that those things happened to me. And they're incredibly painful, and some things I think will stick with me for the rest of my life, because how could they not? Healing does happen. I have healed so much and I've learned so much, but of course there are going to be things that stick with you. I think intense traumas for everybody does. Like, we're all human. Nobody is perfect. Doctors, professionals, even professionals that I've seen have been through things like this. Like, I just want to also highlight the tactics and things that they used against me to make me stay, because I think that's a really hard question that people tend to ask and say, why don't you just leave? You know, why don't you just get up, walk out the door and leave? Well, there are many reasons for that. Everybody's situation is different, but I know for me, they will literally use everything and everyone against me. Everybody I knew, this person would have pre-planned texts ready to go to send to my family members, to send to my friends if I didn't comply with what they wanted me to do. And they did. They did follow through with those threats. They would threat to text certain people romantically in their life. They would threaten to text my parents, to post things, to cheat, to physically harm me in many different forms. At the time and in the relationship, they make you think that everyone around them is always harming them, that they're always the victim of every situation. And to those same exact people, they'll turn around and say that you as a survivor are the one harming them. And so that also creates an incredibly hard dynamic. They also use that to isolate you. For me, they use that to isolate me. It really caused a lot of issues in groups of people that I knew at the time, and friends and people around me. They want you to feel alone. They want you to not tell anybody. They don't want anybody to see the truth, and they'd also do this to you. It's incredibly disturbing. And at the time, I would wonder, why are all these people like getting in all these things? But it was never them. They were also being manipulated by my abuser, and so I of course have no hard feelings towards any of those people, because they were also being manipulated and abused by this person as well. And that's not their fault. And so I've just learned a lot of things along the way, and I think I want to highlight different things like that as well. But just break you down, they isolate you, they harm you, you're in a constant fight or flight mindset. You're just trying to survive. And it just makes it incredibly hard to leave. They try so many things. They will literally go through your work if they have to, or they will go through school, they will go through friends, they will go through literally everything you know and everything you do. And I don't think people realize on the outside how it really is when you're in an abusive relationship, what extent people will go to and what extent abusers will go to do that to you. Because abusers also like to show certain sides to other people, but they will only show you the real to the people that see that, or to the survivor. And many times that they attacked other people in my life as well. And so there were moments where I just complied, because I didn't want this person hurting anybody else in my life. I didn't want this person going after anybody else in my life. And at the time, I would have rather dealt with things than being fearful, like, of your life, like, honestly. And it gets way worse when you try to leave. I think people don't understand it comes tenfold to you when you try to leave. And so that's why it may take people many times or several years or several different plans. They web you with all these lies, all these tactics. They do literally everything in their power for you not to leave. They want to have control over you, your voice, your life. They don't want anybody finding out what they have done to you. And this person did that to me in many different forms. But I'm done with that. You know, I'm done caring what people think, what people say. I know in my heart what has happened to me. Every single person in my life knows. Everybody, I have so much support. And I'm doing this for you survivors out there. I'm doing this for people who are too afraid to speak up, who are not ready, or who it's too dangerous to. I want to do this for you, and I want to support you, and I want to let you know that I do support you. You can message me if it's safe, of course. Of course, I urge you out there to please seek help. Please, just even if you tell one person that you truly trust, that is a step. Admitting it to yourself and saying it out loud for the first time is a step, I promise you. For me, in the beginning, I felt comfortable enough to tell a friend certain things. I hadn't told her everything, because that's a lot. I had told her certain things that had been happening to me, and she felt comfortable enough once I had done that for her to mention different things that she'd been seeing, and that helped me really put the picture together, because abusers a lot of times make you think that everyone loves them, they're the best person, and nobody's gonna believe you, and all these things. And once she had shown me the true sides of every situation, it kind of helped me feel supported and heard, and I'm truly grateful for her. She is literally a sister to me. I have many people in my life now who are incredibly supportive and amazing and such blessings. And if you're out there and you feel alone, trust me, I know what that feels like. I literally didn't tell a single soul. There were moments in my life where I felt so alone, and I felt like not a single person in the world cared. But trust me, people do care, and people will care. And if you don't have people, those people will come to you, and you will find those people. You will find your support, I promise you. And there are resources out there to get you connected with that as well. There are so many things I could talk about. I don't want this video to be too long. I hope in the future maybe I can make more videos, because so many things that I've learned along this journey, I just want to put this out there. So I'll talk a little bit now, I guess, about what it looked like when I left this situation. I forced myself to tell one of my friends things that had been happening, and that was a year before I'd finally left. And this helped me keep like a grounded perspective. This helped me let me know that there's at least somebody out there that will support me. So once I done that, at the time I was a student and I didn't have so many things figured out. I was literally just trying to go to school and just trying to survive. And so I tried to build up a structure around me of support, of more financial stability, whether that be a job or volunteering or having something for you that nobody can take away from you, that you achieved on your own. And so I did that, and then more and more I felt ready, and I told the more and more people that I could. It really helped me have people who are aware of the situation, understand what's going on, because before, when I tried to leave, people didn't understand. They didn't really know the whole situation, so it was just kind of hard to follow through with that. And if you're out there, please talk to somebody professional, but my advice is try to make a plan. You know, whether that's short-term, long-term, or for me, just try to have a plan, but don't hold yourself to a really strict timeline, because for me, it took me countless times to leave. I was in this relationship for several years, and I know how incredibly difficult it can be at times to leave. And so For me, yeah, my advice is just to kind of have an idea of a plan or what you can do, and forgive yourself if you don't leave when you thought you would, and just keep going. Just keep going. I promise you, you can do it. I've done it and I didn't think I could. And there were many times, trust me, many times. There are many times I thought nobody in my life would believe me, and they make you believe that. And so yeah, I just want to say, please keep going. And if you've made it out on the other side, you are incredible. And even if you haven't, you are still incredible. For me, I had told like my parents, my family, and so they knew. They had seen things before, but they didn't understand the depths of how serious this was and how bad it was. And my also advice out there, if you don't feel comfortable telling a family member or a friend yet, tell a trusted doctor or a health professional, because you know, I don't know what the laws are in certain states, but I know for me legally this was my secret with my doctor, and my doctor helped me get connected way quicker than other resources. I'm not bashing on other resources. I tried national resources and some local, but it's really sad how common this is, and they were so booked up that I couldn't get appointments for a month out at the time. And so my doctor was really able to help connect me with social workers and therapists and professionals. Even legally wise, they can help you. They can help you literally in any area that you need if you have a trusted health professional. That for me was incredible. It was really hard, and I know how hard it is to pick up the phone and to call or to go in and to tell somebody, but I promise you it will be worth it, because you as a human and your life matters more. Okay? It does. And I had to get to that point for me to leave. I was so done with everything. I stopped caring about literally everything. I didn't care at the time. Me being human and me being alive was enough to leave. Me as a person, I couldn't deal with it anymore. So that's what I did. The healing process, of course, is never linear. I'm still healing. We're all healing. You know, I've healed so much so, though, that I feel in such a great place in my life. Of course, we all have moments. I'm also going to be vulnerable and say that when I left this relationship, I was diagnosed with PTSD. And, you know, for a while, when you're in fight or flight, your brain and your body is trying to protect you from danger. And when the person that is closest to you or that you're in a relationship with is the danger to you, that's a constant. And my body, I was having panic attacks daily, several times a week, over and over again, especially after I left. I was hyper aware of everything. I was on alert all the time. My body didn't let myself rest. Anytime I saw the kind of car that this person drove, I would instantly go into a panic attack. I was afraid to even walk outside my house for very real and valid reasons at the time. And I was having nightmares every night. I couldn't sleep. I just was on edge all the time, and my body didn't know how to react because I'd been in trauma and I'd been abused for so long that my body didn't have a regular like a regulated nervous system and just my reactions to things. And so I know the fight of that. I know how that feels. I know what that takes. You know, for me, I couldn't even make it through the day at times. I literally felt like a shell. But I'm here to tell you that those days turn into weeks, and those weeks will turn into months, and pretty soon it will turn into a year and years down the line. And, you know, even though you can't take back those things that happened to you, you are an incredible person. And I just remind you again that you are a warrior. You are, and you're incredible, and you deserve to be here. There is an absolute amazing reason why you are here on this earth right now, and nobody can take that away from you. And don't let anybody do that. Don't let anybody take that away from you or make you believe that you're not worthy of being here and that you're not worthy of just living and breathing and being a human. I just want to say that for the people out there who've experienced something traumatic in their life where people tried to tear you down or tell you that you were worthless or you weren't worthy or that you were not good enough. And I want to tell you that those people, they're just saying that to themselves, but using you as a target, as a projection. They're projecting that onto you. And if people tell you that, don't take it, because you're amazing and you're incredible. And you're hearing it from me. Even if you don't know me or you've never known me or seen me before, I want to let you know that, because you're meant to hear that today. I think I've said a lot from what I needed from my heart. Of course, there's so much I could go into, but the main premise of this video is just kind of sharing things that I've been through and being open and vulnerable about things that I've gone through, and to not have such a bad stigma attached to it. I currently work in the field of psychology, and someday I truly want to be in the field of psychology. It's something I'm extremely passionate about, and you know, just because something happened to you, no matter what field you're in and no matter what you want to do, don't let somebody stigmatize that for you. You're not damaged goods, or you're not capable of doing incredible things and helping other people. To me, it's a strength and it's a superpower to understand other humans and what they've gone through, especially if they've experienced the same things that you have. I've found, you know, some health professionals that I've talked to have a background in this, or they've experienced it or known somebody who's experienced it. And to me, that makes me feel more validated, more understood. People who have gone through something are going to validate it because they just get it. They understand it. And so no matter who you are, you go out there and do what you want to do. And, you know, for me, I know wherever I'm meant to be is where I'm going to be, and things that have happened to me aren't going to damage that for me. They're only going to make it stronger. I think I'm going to end the video here. Of course, there's so much I could say, and maybe I will. I might make more videos just about this topic, kind of just shedding light on things that I've learned. I really hope it helped somebody out there, or I know this is kind of a really vulnerable topic and can be really emotional, and I really hoped it let somebody out there know that you're not alone. You're not alone. There are incredible resources out there for you. There are support groups. There is all different kinds of therapy and treatments, and just amazing communities of people out there who have been through the same things that you have been through, or been through similarities, or who can understand you. And I'm going to link some down below. Even if that doesn't work, try going to a health professional who can more directly help you in that area, because I know places can be really booked up. But if it is more severe, please reach out to hotlines. I know they can help you with finding housing, legal matters. They can help you with furniture, with clothes, with resources, and they can get you connected to a social worker or a therapist as quick as they can. If you're more in immediate danger, please do that. And yeah, thank you so much if you stayed to the end of this. I know this is probably going to end up being kind of long. I'm truly grateful. I'm very appreciative that you took the time to listen to me, to watch a video about me, even if you have no idea who I am. That's a huge blessing. Yeah, I hope all of you beautiful, amazing souls out there who watch this have an amazing day, and you keep going, and I support you. Even if I don't know you, please know that I support you, because I get it and I understand it. Okay. I also want to thank my friends and family, because I know y'all watching this, and you are all incredible and amazing, and I'm so blessed to have you all in my life. And yeah, okay, I think I'm done with this video. Hopefully this goes okay, and maybe I'll make more. I don't know. Okay. Okay, bye.